Harry Styles, strugglers. You ever heard of this guy? Pop star sensation, former member of One Direction. He recently announced that he's going on a tour. And one of the stops on his tour is in the United States. It is a 30-night residency at Madison Square Garden. Now, I don't know if that really counts as touring. They got to come to you, but whatever. People went nuts. Okay, they lost their minds. And the reason they lost their minds was because the price of the tickets is insane. Read through the comments on the Instagram post announcing the tour. That's all you're going to see is people complaining about the price of the tickets. Well past $1,000 on the high end, and that's not even counting resale that's inevitably happening. That was just for like pre-sale stuff. So like probably the cheapest tickets you're ever going to get. He hasn't exactly marketed himself as being an artist for the elites. You know what I'm saying? So to have ticket prices be so high that you either have to have a lot of disposable income or go into credit card debt in order to go see the show, kind of tone deaf. Like here, I'm seeing that a lot of people, there's this Reddit thread and they're saying that the face value, which is like the base price before all the fees and taxes and whatever, down in the pit area at Madison Square Garden, they were saying is anywhere from like 300 to 400-ish, whatever, during the pre-sale. But then there's a lot of speculation that there was dynamic pricing going on during the sale. So people who got into the queue to buy tickets early on were seeing lower prices, and then people later on were seeing higher prices because the demand was higher. Well, here's the problem with that. This did not have dynamic pricing. As a matter of fact, we see this post right here that claims that Ticketmaster had initially said they would not be using dynamic pricing for this tour. Instead, what they used was platinum pricing, which is different. What a platinum ticket is just a more expensive ticket. For why? It. Just cuz. Let's see what Ticketmaster's website actually says about platinum tickets. What are official platinum seats? Platinum tickets give fans access to some of the most popular tickets at a price set by the event organizer. Is this the same as surge pricing? No, Ticketmaster does not use any algorithmic surge pricing technology. Interesting. So what happened was the people that got into the queue early to buy tickets bought up all the cheap tickets, and then the only ones that were left were the randomly placed platinum tickets. And they'll tell you, well, they weren't random, they were placed in spots that were gonna have high demand. You know, the really good seats were placed in high demand spots. So then all the cheap ones got bought up, and then people later on in the queue were getting tickets right next to cheaper tickets, like literally right next to them, but they were platinum, so they were more expensive. Okay. Harry Styles and his team had to approve the use of platinum tickets. That's how Ticketmaster works. They chose to let some people get cheap tickets and then some people sitting right next to them to have to pay more just cause they want a little bit more money. But it's not just platinum tickets that are more expensive. It's every ticket. Every ticket is more expensive. Why and how could every ticket be more expensive? What does that even mean? Let me explain. But first, in the spirit of music, I need to perform a song for you. They call me One Take Jake because I spit fire and I never start over. Thank you to Helix for sponsoring this video. This one's for you, baby. Helix makes premium mattresses that cater to all of your preferences. Me, I got matched with the midnight. Based on my answers to their sleep quiz. You go online and you fill that out. Not much time and it leaves no doubt. Like I sleep on my side, I prefer a medium firmness to my mattress. That's why I got matched with the midnight. Then you get 120 nights to make sure it fits you right. And I bet it will. They give you a lifetime warranty too, actually. They've got this mattress then figured out. I look around and everyone I know is sleeping on one too. We've got like 4 in this very house. Not exaggerating. We've got this mattress thing figured out. Yeah. Oh, another thing that Helix is doing now is if you're not necessarily in the market for a brand new mattress, but you want to upgrade an old one that you already have, they offer premium mattress toppers. So you can get one that's a little bit softer, a little bit firmer, maybe a cooling cover. Just extend the life of a mattress, get one for everyone in your family. Your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, and don't forget to treat yourself too, baby. They've got this mattress thing figured out. And I won't rest till every one of you is sleeping on one too. So use my link for a good discount. We've got this mattress thing figured out. Yeah, so President's Day sale, 27% off, helixsleep.com/Scott Cramer. Thanks for sponsoring Helix. Thanks for using my links when I have them, guys. Appreciate you. Let's get back into the video, huh? Why not? Okay, we're back. So, Ticketmaster hates your guts. Ticketmaster is the ticketing company, the website where these concert tickets were being sold for the Harry Styles tour. And they also are the ticketing service for pretty much every single concert that you go to. We'll get into that later. If you're somebody that goes to concerts, you probably have noticed that the cost of a ticket has just kept going up. And it's not like, oh, it's just, steadily rising with inflation. No. Getting tickets to go to a top concert is so insanely expensive now. If you're a normal person, you are priced out. Well, what if we ask Ticketmaster's CEO, Michael Rapino? What does he think about that?
If we look at where we are today compared to 10 years ago, if you were when you were in this business, what was the difference?
Yes, the cost has gone up, but the investment and the experience.
Okay, what's happened to margin? Given the costs of the production have gone up, is the production gone up in line with tickets? Has it gone up 100%. Even more than tickets?
So we have a lot of runway left, right? So when you read about the ticket prices going up, it's still, average concert price is $72. Try going to a Laker game for that. The concert is underpriced, has been for a long time.
Oh, concert tickets are actually underpriced. Interesting, I didn't think about that. So he says the average concert ticket is $72. Try going to a Lakers game for that. I have two things to say. One, the average concert ticket, the average of like all concert tickets that exist. So you're comparing the average of literally every concert that you can go to one of the largest sports markets that exists on planet Earth. Yeah, I don't think those two are going to compare, buddy. And also, number two, you absolutely can find Lakers tickets for $72. What the hell are you talking about, brother? Concerts are too expensive? No, you're wrong. The average concert is actually $72. You can go see the Baby Fleas for $14 at your local pub. And you're certainly not going to be able to get into a Lakers game for $14. So actually, yeah, concerts are underpriced. What a loser. Well, whatever, okay? Maybe this doesn't matter to you. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, he's just the CEO of Ticketmaster. That's just one ticketing company. Why do I care what this guy has to say? Certainly there are other companies that we can go through to buy our tickets. No. So probably my favorite musical artist is Jon Bellion, and he might actually also be your favorite without you knowing it. He's written so many hits that you probably didn't know about. Well, Jon Bellion stoked the flames against Ticketmaster a few years back. He was on a song with a band named Lawrence. Now, Lawrence is signed to Bellion's label that he created himself, and the lyrics to Jon's verse on one of their songs, False Alarms, are very interesting.
Make sure you keep your masters so these assholes don't get shopping sprees. Fame is overrated and Live Nation's a monopoly.
I heard this song and I thought to myself, what is Live Nation? Who's that? What does that mean? Ticketmaster is owned by Live Nation. They're part of the same kind of conglomerate. The reason that Jon Bellion called out Live Nation / Ticketmaster, same company, for being a monopoly was for a myriad of reasons. Myriad of reasons? Ticketmaster is kind of a bad company, in my opinion, allegedly. When you buy a ticket on Ticketmaster, say it's listed for $50, they add on an insane amount of fees on top of that $50. So maybe by the time you actually check out, that $50 ticket is now $75. Ticketmaster takes that $25, it's theirs. They get to hold on to that forever. But then, for every single transfer of tickets thereafter, they also put a fee on top. So say you've got your $75 ticket and you can no longer go to the show, so you're gonna sell that ticket. Well, now a ticket that was originally listed as $50, you have to sell for $75 in order to break even. So now say you sell it for $75. Well, whoever buys that $75 ticket now has to pay the fees again. So that's gonna be at least $25, probably more. So whatever, let's just say they're spending $100 and Ticketmaster is collecting $25 in fees again. So now for one single $50 ticket, they've made an extra $50 on top. And now, God forbid, that ticket gets sold again. The process just repeats itself again and again and again. Clyde Lawrence, he's kind of the front man of the band Lawrence that had that song that Jon Bellion was on. He testified before the Senate a few years ago.
Mr. Lawrence, what was the amount you said, the percentage of your tickets that were fees?
Typically with Ticketmaster, we'll see a 40%-ish or closer to 50% fee added on top. We have seen really outlandish numbers, like we had a show last spring where there was an 82% fee on top of the base price. And again, we have no say or we don't even know what it's going to be until it goes on sale.
So Clyde is saying that the band themselves, they set the base price for the ticket. So say they want the tickets to be $50. They get to say that. But then Ticketmaster gets to come in and add on whatever they want in terms of fees. And the band has no say in that, and they have no idea what those fees are going to be before the tickets go on sale. So if you as a band or as an artist want to be selling tickets for $50, that's not going to happen. Ticketmaster's going to get theirs. Just last month of this year, Kid Rock, he also testified before Senate. They did this whole thing again, and he echoed that fact that the artists get to set the base price, but they have no say in the all-in price after fees.
The final price or setting the price of what we'd like?
The final price.
That includes all the fees, the tacked on, how the buildings make their money, everyone this, that, and the other. There's, they charge how much to print out a ticket at home, all these little stuff that makes no sense. At the end of the day, no, we don't have any. over all those fees and everything that they tack on and all the stuff that people are really upset about.
Yeah, if you're buying like a $35 base price ticket, they might add a 30% fee on top of that. So then it's about $45 that you are paying. Immediately 10 of that is the ticket fee. Then there's maybe another $3 to $4. That's what's called a facility fee that might come right off the top. So now we're down to $31. It's a little bit complicated.
So you don't get the whole $35?
No, not even close. No, like we would get anywhere, I would say, from 40 to 70% of like $31 on a ticket that you paid $45 for. We'd get,
and Ticketmaster gets the rest.
So the artists make a small percentage of every ticket sale, not including the fees. And then also if that ticket gets resold, even if it's on the same platform, so say Ticketmaster has a resale site, the artist doesn't see a penny from the resale of that ticket, but Ticketmaster gets to collect their fees again a second time.
Secondary ticketing, you know, if you buy a ticket, you can then resell it on a platform like StubHub or any number of other ones, including Ticketmaster has its own secondary ticketing platform. So you could buy a ticket, resell it on the secondary ticketing platform on Ticketmaster, and then that resale value, the artist doesn't get a cent of that. You could make the argument that a company like Live Nation is incentivized to have as much transactions happening on the secondary market through their site rather than the primary.
A friend of mine sent me a screenshot of a ticket purchase she made for, I believe it was a Shania Twain concert. The tickets were $227 each, but when she got to the final screen where she had to actually make the order, they turned into $291 a piece. That works out to a 30% bump on the very last screen of the transaction.
A ticket listed at one price all the way up until literally checkout. What are we doing here? That's insane. Oh, you would like to buy one ticket? That will be $79.
That was a lie.
So this is an example of a ticket for an Olivia Dean concert that is going to happen later this year. $155, that was what the ticket was going to cost, and then they have $35.25 for fees, $7 order processing fee. What are we processing? Isn't processing meant for like physical goods? Like if you're packaging something up and shipping it? This is a digital ticket, Ticketmaster. 2 tickets ends up being $388 instead of $310. So they tacked on an extra $70 just cause why the hell not? Why not? As a purchaser of a concert ticket, it's gotta be so insanely frustrating to see a seat. You select your seat and you see what the ticket costs, right? And then by the time you get to the end of your transaction, it's actually nowhere near that because of all these insane fees that have been added on. Kind of a bait and switch, kind of a lie. Well, there's a new law being introduced in the Senate called the Ticket Act, which actually makes it so all-in pricing has to be included at the very beginning. So they have to show all of the fees up front. They have to show exactly what it's gonna cost by the time you get to checkout right away. And that is good. In theory, that's very good. I like that. But maybe you're still sitting there and you're thinking, God, none of this really matters though. This is just what the business looks like, baby. If you don't like it, you don't have to participate.
What do I think about what?
Ticketmaster.
What do I think about Ticketmaster? I like them. What's not to like about Ticketmaster?
As a purchaser?
As a purchaser? Yeah, you know you can not go to the show. I always think like Ticketmaster always get like given a hard time. People going, oh, it was £400 to see Taylor Swift. Well, don't go.
I wanted to come see you.
You wanted to come see me? It looks like you did great.
I hate this. Oh, the service is predatory and totally screwing people over? Just don't go to the show. Regular people are not able to reasonably afford these skyrocketing ticket prices. For Harry Styles' show, for example, by the time you buy a ticket and then travel to New York City because you have to go there, you get a place to stay, you purchase food, you pay for a ride to the show, you get food and drinks inside the stadium because you're there for many hours and you're forced to eat there. You hopefully skip that $55 t-shirt because wow, you gotta pay for a ride back to the hotel, you gotta get back home. All these, the expenses add up so fast, and by the time you're done with this one event that lasted a few hours, you've potentially spent thousands of dollars. There are tens of thousands of people inside Madison Square Garden for this event. I promise you, all of them are not there because they saved up a bunch of money or because they have a bunch of disposable income. They're probably there because they went into credit card debt. Well, not everything is for everybody then, you know? Maybe if you can't afford it, you just don't go. And I could see making that argument for like an obvious luxury, like going on a private yacht or something, but what are we doing here? A concert? Seeing live music? That's like an unattainable luxury now? It didn't used to be that way. That's the frustrating part, is it doesn't have to be like this, and it did not used to be like this, not even that long ago. Ask anybody who went to concerts like 10 plus years ago. Ask me! It didn't used to be like that. So what changed in the last decade? Back in 1994, the band Pearl Jam was supposed to go on a summer tour, but they ended up canceling the entire thing in lieu of battling Ticketmaster on Capitol Hill.
Guitarist Stone Gossard and bassist Jeff Ament were at the House of Representatives to begin 3 hours of testimony about Ticketmaster.
Pearl Jam had filed a complaint with the Department of Justice accusing Ticketmaster of monopolizing the ticket industry. And they accused Ticketmaster of blacklisting the band from certain venues that they had a relationship with as promoters because they were fighting them on this.
Pearl Jam has accused Ticketmaster of being a monopoly and of using its power to scuttle a summer tour the band had planned, with tickets to sell for a relatively low $18.
The band was going to sell tickets to their shows for $18. That was their wish. That's what they wanted their fans to spend, $18. Ticketmaster bumped those prices up with fees to $30. Pearl Jam went to war for $30. They said $30? That's too expensive for regular people. We have to fight them on Capitol Hill.
All the members of Pearl Jam remember what it's like to be young and not have a lot of money. Many Pearl Jam fans are teenagers who do not have the money to pay $30 or more that it's often charged for tickets today.
They did not like that fees were being added onto their ticket prices without them knowing, and they did not like that those fees were being redistributed back to the venues and the promoters that they were using, because they were the venues and the promoters.
It is well known in our industry that some portion of the service charges Ticketmaster collects on its sale of tickets is distributed back to the promoters and the venues. It is this incestuous relationship and the lack of any national competition for Ticketmaster that has created the situation we're dealing with today.
And that became absolutely official in 2010 when Live Nation, the promotion company and the owner of many concert venues, merged with Ticketmaster. So now the company that sells tickets to events is also the same company that hosts the events, with no room for any competition whatsoever. Kind of sounds like a monopoly. Well, that's what's being argued still to this day.
In 2009, Congress was told under oath that merging Live Nation and Ticketmaster would benefit artists and fans. The CEO of Live Nation called the merger an experiment and promised it would increase competition, empower artists, and lower costs. He also said, and I quote, "A system that empowers artists benefits everyone." Almost need a rim shot after that.
One of the more recent accusations against Ticketmaster and Live Nation is that they're kind of issuing soft threats to venues.
When speaking with people that either own or manage venues, their biggest fear is if they leave Ticketmaster, they will lose content. It's implied that if I don't use Ticketmaster, I am not gonna get all the shows that I would like to have.
Typically, we'll go to a prospective client, we will show them our technology, they'll get excited about how it's gonna make the experience better for their fans and allow them to run their business better. And then they'll start to think about the concert threat, and they'll talk, and discussions will often close at that point because they've heard or been explicitly threatened. They know they will lose concerts if they move away from Ticketmaster.
John Bellion has spoken before about how when you're planning a tour, there's a good chance that when you're signing contracts to be at certain venues, you will only be allowed to play at Live Nation owned properties.
They want to make sure that they are playing in those Live Nation / Ticketmaster rooms. The artists will play in just those rooms only. With some of these like bigger festivals, they make these incredibly massive radius clauses that no artist can play anywhere within the western half of the United States for a specific period of time.
You have a company that now controls 90% of Billboard Top 40 and sporting events of the ticketing, 80% of the ticketing when it comes to large arenas, and 70% of all ticketing. They also own arenas, they own the promotion with Live Nation, they're locking in venues for long periods of time, and this has cried out for action.
Ticketmaster, in practice, basically controls the entire market. There is no way for anyone else to break in because they own everything. And allegedly, Ticketmaster has also been pushing recently for very long-term contracts with venues that they partner with. So they're the sole ticket provider and promoter for these venues for upwards of a decade.
In response to some of the oversight and poking that has happened recently, we've seen Ticketmaster moving from 5 years, which used to be the standard length for a contract in our industry, to 10, trying to lock things down so that if there is more pressure, they've at least signed a lot of these decade-long deals. So there's not a lot of time. If we want competition in this industry, it is already going to be very hard to change. Longer contracts make that even harder, and that is what they've been pushing for recently.
That's too long. Okay, that's too long of a time to sign a contract for. And the way that they get them to do it, allegedly, is with these soft threats of not being able to get the top acts to come to your venue. They will make sure in the negotiation process with these artists that they don't go to your venue if you don't use Ticketmaster. It essentially just means that there's a huge lack of competition, not because Ticketmaster is like the best service. They don't own 80% of the market because they're the best service. If that was the case, whatever, let the best rise to the top, that's fine. The reason that they own 80% is because they've slowly taken control of all of these venues, and they've been locking them into long-term exclusive partnerships. That makes it nearly impossible for another company like, say, SeatGeek. Very, very hard for somebody like SeatGeek to come in and grow substantially in the market. And that ends up hurting the consumer as well, because you don't have any options. You don't have any choice. There's no competition happening to bring these prices down. So like the industry standard for these insane fees could be much lower, because we wouldn't use that. We wouldn't use Ticketmaster if we didn't have to. So a giant issue that Ticketmaster is constantly bumping into is bots and scalpers. Bots shutting down the site during Taylor Swift's Eras Tour ticket sales was actually the reason they called that first hearing. There was something called the Better Online Ticket Sales Act, and that was introduced in 2016. And that made it illegal, okay? It's illegal for any ticket purchased using bot scraping technology to be resold. So if someone comes in, they use a bunch of bots to buy up a bunch of tickets, you cannot legally resell those. But apparently that has not been enforced, like at all. So it's a law on the books that we're just ignoring. Jaywalking style. First off, bots are not real. Oh, okay. My bad, I guess, sorry. Probably the worst thing that comes out of these bots scraping tickets and buying up everything is actually something that happens before the real tickets even go on sale, called speculative tickets. Some third-party scalper will put up for sale a bunch of tickets to a concert that hasn't even gone on sale yet, and they'll be charging really high rates for those tickets. But the problem is they don't have the tickets. It's a speculative ticket that you as a consumer would purchase in the hopes that they can have a bot scrape and buy a ticket for you. And if they can't, you're just out of luck. It's a pre-sale on resale. Bars. People have been so overwhelmed and frustrated by bots existing, they're like, I'm not even going to deal with trying to go on Ticketmaster because I know I'm going to be fighting tens of thousands of bots. I just want Harry Styles tickets. I don't want to fight against Ultron, so I'm going to pay the bots to go get tickets for me. We're so f***ed, man. This is so dystopian. It's like the cartel. It's the Harry Styles concert cartel. You know what, actually? If you guys don't want to deal with waiting for GTA 6, just send me $70 and I will, when it comes out, I'll make sure to get you a copy. So speculative ticketing is obviously like not a good thing. We don't want that to exist. And there's actually a new law that's hopefully going to be enacted called the Ticket Act. And that would make speculative ticketing illegal. I don't have the highest of hopes for that because, bot technology reselling is already illegal and we're not enforcing that. So why would we enforce speculative ticketing? I don't know. But at least it's a good start, okay? And everybody's on the same page that we want to get rid of speculative ticketing.
Everyone here agree we should get rid of speculative ticketing? Mr. Ritchie, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
In stronger terms than he...
Mr. Barry?
Yes, Senator, pass the Ticket Act.
Absolutely,
okay,
100%.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm glad you're here, sir, and we hear this, and all the staff in here hears it. And maybe we can just offer this up next time we have any bill that comes in, since we're in the Senate. So I look forward to doing that.
I also love that this guy is so fired up about it. Finally, somebody wants to get something done. We're not just spinning our wheels. Let's get something done. How about that? It's all broken. Everything is completely broken. There was a solution proposed at the first hearing to eliminate transferability of tickets.
What if we adopt a rule that said tickets are non-transferable, and we're going to cap the fees that are added on here? You want to cut out bots, make it non-transferable. If we do that, now we've done something.
I recently saw that Noah Khan is adopting this strategy, and people were really excited about it. They're like, oh good, we're gonna have non-transferable tickets, and if you want to resell the ticket, you can only resell it back to Ticketmaster for the face value price of the ticket. So it's not that you get the ticket and then you can do whatever you want with it. It's also not that you get the ticket and then you're stuck with it and can't do anything with it. You can get the ticket, and if something happens, you give it right back to Ticketmaster. It's actually a little bit different than that. You're not restricted to giving the ticket back to Ticketmaster. You can sell it to somebody else, but only on Ticketmaster's resale platform and only for the base price of the ticket that you purchase. So you are losing out on the fees that Ticketmaster collected. They get to collect the fees still, but you only get to get back the base price when you sell it to somebody else. That feels like maybe the solution. I don't know for sure though. I'm so hesitant to say that there's any real solution, but that feels like maybe we're getting there, because then scalpers can't come in and buy a bunch of tickets and resell them. So unfortunately, it feels like the solution to all of these problems is just to allow Ticketmaster to keep everything to themselves. And I don't like that either. Like, that just doesn't feel right either. So I don't know what to do. How do we get it so there's more competition and then everybody is able to do that? Because right now it's like we got to the point where Ticketmaster owns everything and they created all these problems, and now the solution is just, well, let's just let Ticketmaster control everything themselves. And no third parties can come in, nobody can do anything. It's just Ticketmaster they handle everything on their own. That feels wrong. I don't like the way that is. Kind of feels like they're taking their ball and going home. No one gets to play with this anymore. But I'm just some moron. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm rambling. The last thing I want to talk about is the way that Ticketmaster's system is bad for artists. We already know that it's not great for fans trying to purchase tickets. They have not created the best environment for that. Well, it's also not great for the artists. Ticketmaster actually got in hot water again recently when Olivia Dean put tickets for sale for her upcoming tour, and she was seeing all these insane fees tacked on top of the price that she thought she set for her tickets. So her and her team actually went back and forth with Ticketmaster a lot, and they were like, what the hell are you doing? That's not what we said we wanted to charge. And after that, Ticketmaster actually said they activated a face value exchange for the tour to ensure that any future ticket sales on its site were capped at the original price paid with no added fees. And then they said they would refund fans for any markup they already paid to resellers. Okay, if they can do this, why have they not just been doing this every single time? Why does there always need to be some kind of large public outcry before these companies will apply these policies that they have? They can be doing it right. They can make it smooth. But they want the money, obviously, right? Olivia had actually said, and I quote, "Every artist and their team should be granted the option to cap resale at face value ahead of on sale to keep the live music space accessible for all." And I would even go a step further. I agree that every artist should be able to cap the resale so you can't buy a ticket and then sell it for 8 times its initial cost. But I would go a step further and say, that's not an option, guys. That's the only thing that you can do. It should be required that you can only resell at face value. That's right. I'm proposing stricter regulations. Sue me. I just think we gotta do something. I actually don't know what the right move is, but I think we gotta do something. The problem is people are always so quick to blame the artists when stuff like this happens. Like, they should know all of this before the tickets go on sale. And yeah, maybe they should, but also every artist isn't like a seasoned businessman. Most artists are just artists. Like, I had an instance a few years ago where by default, I was selling merch. By default, they were charging more for like a double XL, triple XL, 4XL t-shirt than they were for a small, medium, large. And they said, oh, you know, there's more fabric, so it's more expensive, but they were charging like $2, $3, $4 more for a t-shirt. And I didn't know that was happening. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I got a few messages from people being like, hey, you scumbag, piece of shit. What, you hate people that are bigger than you? You piece of shit. And I was like, whoa. No, I did not know that was happening. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I went in and I had to manually change all of the prices. So anyway, all that to say, sometimes we just don't know everything that's going on. How could you possibly know every single thing that's going on, right? And you live and you learn, and now hopefully people learn from stuff like this. Maybe another artist doesn't have to learn it for themselves. Maybe they can look at what happened to Olivia Dean. Maybe they can look at what happened to Harry Styles, and they can learn from it, and they can skip the nonsense. Maybe they can do what Noah Khan did and cap resale at face value and only sell back to Ticketmaster. Maybe they can not allow platinum tickets to be sold like Harry Styles has allowed. Just don't do that. Just have all the tickets be the same price, or maybe even do tiers. Like, stuff way up close is a little bit more expensive because it's a better seat, and then it gets cheaper as you go back. At the very least, from everything that I've seen, I think this is a good thing, that this feels like a completely bipartisan issue. All those Senate hearings that I watched, everything that I see in discourse online, very bipartisan. Everybody says, this system is broken, let's fix it. And we're slowly coming up with ways to possibly fix it. I myself have a solution. Would you like to hear it? I don't know if it's the solution, but I kind of like it. I'm going to use Harry Styles' tour as an example. Those shows, let's just say the average ticket price for the 20,000 seats that are sold out, say average ticket price like $500. Ooh, that's a lot of money. That would mean that the show is bringing in about $10 million in ticket sales every night. 30 nights, $300 million. Wow. Instead of bending your fans over a barrel and showing them the 50 states, what if we had a giant corporate sponsor? Hear me out. I know that sounds yucky, and I know you don't like that. I know that sounds Orwellian. I think it's a good idea. Instead of charging on average $500 per ticket so that your fans can go into credit card debt, make Coca-Cola pay for it. It's called the Harry Styles Together Tour. Why can't it just be the Harry Styles Coca-Cola Tour? Let Coca-Cola slap shameless branding all over the place, but then the tickets are free. What do we think about that? What do we think about that? There's no bots, there's no scalpers. The fans get the tickets, the fans go to the show, they enjoy it, they spend money, they pay for the shirts now. You know what? I will buy a $55 shirt, and I'm gonna get a $30 hot dog because Coca-Cola so graciously paid for our tickets. Thank you, Coca-Cola. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Let me know. That might be a bad idea, but let me know. And another solution would be to just stop worshiping these artists like they deserve it. You don't need to pay these insane prices to go see them live. And I know that sounds like the Jimmy Carr clip that I clowned on earlier. But what Jimmy Carr was saying, if you can't afford, just don't go. What I'm saying is, we should all be able to afford to go. You can't just increase the price of gasoline and then be like, well, I guess driving cars is a luxury for the upper class. If you can't afford it, just don't drive. Why are we increasing the price of tickets and then pretending like it's a luxury for the upper class? That's annoying. You're being annoying and you're being cringe. Stop it. Maybe the least we can do is stop buying resale tickets. Maybe don't buy a resale ticket for the Harry Styles tour. Maybe make him feel it just a little bit. He still got paid. You know, he got paid for all the initial sales, but maybe when he looks out there and he sees all those empty seats, he says, what have I done? And then he goes and he cries on his Scrooge McDuck pile of money. I don't know, guys. Whatever. Just watch it. They're going to make it into a movie. They're going to make it into an Amazon Prime tour documentary. He's going to make another $100 million for that. So just watch it when it comes out on Prime.
Even looking back at like the Live Nation stuff, I realized that like you don't have to fucking blow the building up. You just got to create the stir to at least try to have the conversation.
Okay, I hope that made sense. I've just been reading and watching a lot about this Ticketmaster stuff over the past few weeks, and it was all in my brain and I had to get it out. I hope that I got it out in a way that makes sense to you, and I hope that sentence wasn't super innuendo-filled. Thank you so much for watching. An extra thank you to my patrons. Those listed here are in the top tier on there. If you have time for just one more video today, I would recommend, what's a fun one? I would recommend my Sabrina Carpenter video that I made with Eric Striffler. It's just goofy, silly fun. There's nothing serious going on over there. All right, I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you again very soon. I'm not used to this wall being so close. Goodbye.
They've got this mattress thing figured out. I look around and everyone I know is sleeping on one too. We've got like 4 in this very house. We've got this mattress thing figured out.